Hey everybody, this is Kodak here, and welcome to What Did I Just Watch, which is a little series I am thinking of doing where I look at the pilot episode of a show or like a movie or something that is designed to sell a product, something merchandise driven, and I express my thoughts on it. Usually this means it's something that has to do with a toy line, though in this case it is something called a video game. So I've got my the notes I took at the ready, so we're going to talk about Fruit Ninja Frenzy Force. So Fruit Ninja Frenzy Force, it is a cartoon based on Fruit Ninja and is a YouTube Red exclusive, but they have put out the first episode for free. So if you want to go and watch it before I talk about it, you're welcome to do so and join me. Though I'm not sure what astonished me more, the fact that people are still playing Fruit Ninja or the fact that YouTube Red has exclusive cartoons. And another thing I'm aware of regarding Fruit Ninja is after the Lego movie came out, like in the vein of the Emoji movie, people were wanting to make a Fruit Ninja movie. Oh boy, are they going to team up with the Emoji movie and the Angry Birds movie to make an app game cinematic universe? I mean, I know that Warner Brothers has tried to make it so that the Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie are retroactively part of a Lego cinematic universe, which the Lego Ninjago movie was supposed to build on, but it looks like it might go the way of the Dark Universe, but I don't know.
Under an ordinary house in an ordinary neighborhood, 4 kids found the secrets to the messiest martial art of all time.
Nah, I'm pretty sure the martial art where you poke somebody and their head explodes is still the messiest martial art. So this series is about 4 kids who turn into ninjas, because nobody's ever done that before, although I guess I have to give them credit, at least they did a girl character by, you know, having like 3 white guys and then you have a dark-skinned girl just to cram all those token minorities into one character to get them all out of the way. And all of them are in like these blinding colors. Hypersaturation is very much something having to do with this series, and boy howdy does it ever burn the eyes when you first watch it.
Alright, you so-called ninjas, get a load of my Blueberry Backspin Blast!
And really, our first line comes from Mighty Number 9 in a Tapu Koko mask? So apparently these guys use a martial art called Juice Jitsu, which is supposed to be a pun on Jujitsu, I guess. And they get their powers by slicing into fruit, otherwise their attacks lack punch. I apologize for everybody at home. And here's where we get kind of the first problem with the pilot, is that it starts in medias res, where our characters have already done a bunch of training and they're talking about how they want to beat up bad guys and are led by this guy named Dragonfruit, who sounds an awful lot like Robin from Teen Titans.
It's time we showed everybody what being a fruit ninja is all about!
The problem with starting a show this way is it almost seems to take for granted that we like the characters without really getting to know them because they've been labeled the good guys. Redakai made the same mistake. There are lots of shows that make this mistake that wind up having really bland heroes as a result of giving them no development when they are first introduced. So then we have a magical portal in the sky, and out of that comes, I guess, Girahim if he spent too much time at Hot Topic. I mean, looking at this guy, I can just kind of hear the slow motion Linkin Park playing behind him. So this guy's name is Rinjin, and he is our villain for the day, if you couldn't guess by his gaunt and jaundiced appearance. Guy has some pretty serious scurvy going on. So what he does is, he's actually kind of the funny guy, but we get like our first like huge plot hole, because there are some funny jokes in this, and most of them come from Rinjin, but for every funny joke, there's a dud, and there's another joke that makes you go, what? So they have a joke where Rinjin walks up to them and he starts to introduce himself, but then he sees a box of fruit that says, "Do not sell to Rinjin." So here's the thing, is these guys have essentially wanted posters with this guy's picture on them all over their fruit boxes, but they don't recognize him when he walks up to them. So he like immediately changes his name to Durian, and the team, they're kind of skeptical, but they huddle together. This is actually probably one of the funnier jokes, is they huddle together and they discuss whether or not they should trust him. And what happens is Rinjin actually kind of weaseled his way into the huddle and says, "I think we should trust him." And what he does is he lures them into an alley that he somehow turns into a fruit market with a bomb. Just roll with it. And basically he has trapped the fruit ninjas. He then turns all the fruit into like giant muscular fruit golems with really problematically placed watermelons in order to fight them. So the fruit ninjas slice into the fruit to transform into their super forms, and the fight seems to be really confused with how it wants to go, because you don't actually see the fruit ninjas like land any attacks on these guys. You see them swing, then you see like a flash of like weapon effects, and then you see the fruit golem fall into pieces. But here's the thing, is they censored that violence, but the way the fruit golems fall apart is actually really graphic. You see like the cross sections of all the fruits inside of there. So it's this weird combination of aversion to violence, but also extreme gore. I don't know where that came from. It is a bizarre creative decision. But of course, because these fruit golems are surrounded by more fruit, they just absorb more of the fruit and regain their shape and keep attacking. So the fruit ninja run away to lure the fruit, and then they beat up the fruit, and then Rinjin appears and beats them up, because since the fruit ninja don't have any fruit to slice, they're basically powerless, and Rinjin can just beat them up. Why didn't he do this when he first showed up? Why didn't he just, beat the living daylights out of him the moment he came out of the portal in the sky? Man, and it also includes a scene where Rinjin throws a bomb to reference the game. Apparently there's a few nods in the game. Apparently Rinjin himself is a nod to the game. There's a place where the fruit ninjas crash and 3 stars pop up, which I assume is also a reference to the game. So yeah, he beats them up, but then there's this really puzzling joke, because the fruit ninjas don't have their fruit powers. They say this.
It's no use! Without the fruit, we're just ordinary ninjas!
Oh, everybody knows ordinary ninjas can't fight.
So I don't know what kind of joke they're trying to make there. Are they trying to say that in order to be a successful ninja, you have to have like some kind of special title, like you have to be like the Teenage Mutant Turtle variety? Or are they making a joke like, oh no, the T-Rex with robotic arms has lost its robotic arms, now it's just an ordinary T-Rex? Now it looks bad for our heroes, but suddenly, Donkey Kong. So the Fruit Ninja, they beat up Rinjin. They also do these sorts of rhyming attack names.
Triple Apple Grapple! Septuple Super Salad Slam!
Banana ninja move.
Donkey Kong, if you could.
My pleasure.
Banana slammer. Much obliged.
And here is where the show has an interesting problem. It has kind of the opposite problem to Mysticons, because the attacks in this Fruit Ninja episode are really nicely framed. You really get the proper leading room. You get the proper spacing so that everything lands correctly. But the attack animations themselves have no weight and no impact. I don't know, maybe it's this whole attempt to be averse from violence. You don't want to actually see somebody throw a punch. Apparently, like the Spider-Man original cartoon series, or I think it was like the 90s cartoon, Spider-Man like threw only one punch ever, and that kind of seems to be what's happening here. So they beat up on Rinjin a little bit, and then the Dragon Fruit Ninja, what he does is he does this thing where he slashes a bunch of fruit and then does absolutely nothing. He literally just slices fruit and just stands there, and apparently that's enough to defeat Rinjin. And I'm looking all over the field, and I'm seeing all these sliced up fruits, and all I can think is, starving in Africa!
Thank you, merciful Fruit Ninja. I'm sorry for everything. I had my fingers crossed.
No, you didn't. Okay, so that is a look at Fruit Ninja Fury Force. It's actually not as bad as I was expecting to be. I mean, it's kind of terrible. The heroes are bland, but a series with bland heroes tends to be saved by its villains, and Rinjin does a pretty good job of that. The only time I laughed at anything was when Rinjin did something. The main characters aren't funny at all, but Rinjin definitely has his moments. He has his moments where he just resorts to chucking bombs at people. He has the scene where he squeezes into the huddle. That's pretty good. I mean, the sensei shows up a couple of times. He has a weird one-off joke at one point, but the intro I thought made it look like that they'd been training with sensei the whole time, but apparently they don't know who he is. That, and there's this kind of overall weird meta feel where these guys like already know what's going to happen in the script and they're just playing along. Like when they say to trust the guy only to step into his trap, and they're like sarcastically say, oh, what a surprise. I don't know if that really works. This constant like mugging over the shoulder to the camera is something we're seeing a lot. The Emoji Movie does it to a painful degree, and I don't think it really helps that much. I mean, even Ninja Turtles kinda overdoes it at times. I think they scaled back the meta as they went on. But Rinjin is definitely the best part of the episode. I mean, I could listen to his Fruity Fools line all day.
Fruity fools, fruity fools, fruity fools!
So, yeah, it's still a series with a lot of problems. The animation, like I said, reminds me of either Mighty No. 9 or that new Mega Man cartoon that they're apparently putting out, the one that I think Capcom has made deliberately to try to kill the franchise forever. I'd say it's honestly up to you. Apparently there's a lot of continuity nods to Fruit Ninja, and like I said, the framing is really well done. These people know how to draw a good storyboard. But that's about it. The script is really weak unless Rinjin is involved. The action is frequently poorly animated, but like I said, the framing, the cinematography, they got the basics for that. They have a really good feel of how to do cinematography, better than Mysticon's does. Like Mysticon's, they have like the characters doing the attacks, but they give them no leading room, so the attack just kind of weakly falls out of frame. Fruit Ninja, at least, but honestly, that's about it. So, that is a look at Fruit Ninja Fury Force. If you guys have a series or an episode or a movie or something you'd like me to take a quick look at like this, I normally do like the big comprehensive videos, but those tend to be really difficult. I have to get all of the product together and set it up and do all sorts of crazy editing. These are a whole lot easier for me to do, so I could make a whole lot more of them. So if you guys want to see a whole lot more stuff from me, let me know in the comments. If you want to see this stuff even more often, consider supporting me on Patreon. For the ones that aren't based on new shows, these are going to have my Patreon perk. The Patreon viewers will be able to see them several days early, so that's how I'm going to run this from now on. So that is a look at the YouTube Red exclusive series, Fruit Ninja Fury Force, or Fruit Ninja Frenzy Force. I'm sorry, did I call it Fury Force? Fruit Ninja Frenzy Force. And until next time, this is Kodak signing off.